Recently I have been having a lot of fun with Anichess, but my opponent so far has always been a developer of the website. That doesn't sound very fair. Therefore, as it has finally officially launched, we can now play against normal people. My opponent hasn't even changed his name yet, but I can guarantee you this is real people and not engine. E4. If this is the first time you are watching an Anichess video, please feel free to pause the video to read the spells and the UI description. I will give you a few seconds to do so. E5. Knight F3. Knight C6. Bishop B5 is very strong. I brought with me Bishop 2.0, which lets my bishop jump over an obstacle. Therefore my bishop is actually pinning both his knight and his pawn to his king. If any of those things make a move, I can immediately capture his king, provided I have enough mana points to use it. A6. Bishop back B5, bishop back. Bishop on B3 is genuinely also fine, preventing his king from castling. Bishop B4. That is actually a check. Knight C3. Knight F6. At this point I realized that this was a very bad opening phase from me. I completely forgot that he brought the imposter spell. He could have switched his rook with mine for a very devastating check. But you know what they say, it's not a blunder if your opponent doesn't see it. Castle. Bishop C5. That is once again a check. D4. He takes D4. Alright, can't just let my mana goes to waste, changing my e-pawn to a horsey. He doesn't want to trade. Actually makes sense though, I'll take this knight then. Queen takes. Knight E4. D3. He is baiting me to take his queen thinking that I have a check, but it turns out that he can actually take my king during my check. Bishop E3 first. Both of us brought Bishop 2.0, so a bishop trade is going to equally affect both of us. Queen takes B2. I don't really care about materials, the spells I brought are specialized in assassinating his king. Queen takes D3. Bishop takes C3. Queen takes C3. He avoids a discovered check. It is quite surprising that I still cannot find a good way to use shot in the dark. A lot of my viewers are still mad about shot in the dark being too strong, but I actually think it is already very balanced at this point. The spell itself is very strong when it is used, but it is genuinely not that easy to find a good time to cast the spell. Rook E1. And I clicked on the wrong square. Knight E5. Take rook E1. Bishop E7. Knight C5. And my opponent disconnected.
Victory!
I only casted one spell. And my opponent didn't even cast. I'm not feeling satisfied. Another game. Second game we get LADS, with a very cute anime profile picture. E4. And in case you are wondering why I am picking the same spells as last game, it's because the developers decided to disable a few spells from new players so we wouldn't get overwhelmed, which actually makes sense because no one wants to read a wall of text before getting to play. E5. D4. D5. Very confusing. I'll take this way. Counter capture. Queen takes D4. Okay, so the idea is to play around my D5 pawn, and I also need to be very careful about Bishop B4 check combining with Bishop 2.0. C6. I really want C4 defending the pawn, but that will prevent my queen from controlling B4, which allows Bishop B4 check forcing my king to move because he would be having enough mana for Bishop 2.0. So I guess, Knight C3 instead. Knight C6. Bishop G5. My bishop can also jump. Queen D6. Aha. That is actually very good for me because he is blocking his own bishop, but on the other hand there isn't really anything I can do right now. Castle. H6. I'll go back this way. So in this position, my opponent started thinking for about 45 seconds. And then he decided to go with Knight d7. Which blunders a queen. I am scared, because if you really think about it, all of his spells cannot be casted on queens, but all of them can be casted on his bishops. So who knows, maybe he actually did that on purpose. Bishop takes d6. D takes c6. He used shot in the dark on his bishop. Okay, this is bad. I should have seen this coming. Now there are two ways to attack my queen, and one way to attack my king. No need to consider the other options. And since there is no way to save both my queen and my king, I have to choose to save the king. Unfortunately, women and children don't get prioritized on the chessboard. f4. His bishop did not reappear. B takes c6. So as I said, shot in the dark isn't really that strong anymore, at best it is just a bit annoying. Bishop c4. Let us try to win this game without even casting a single spell. Bishop sliding horizontally. I guess he thinks that both my queen and my king are on dark squares, so he made another dark bishop. Knight f3. Knight g4. Queen takes d7 check. King f8. Queen takes f7 checkmate in 1. Aha. I see. So in this position, there is a very cool idea of bishop jumping over my own queen to g8, because the only way his king can get away is to g8 and then h7, but time pressure. I couldn't see that idea during the game. Rook e1 instead. His king showed up on g8. King h7. Rook d7. I am very low on time, but we are getting 2 seconds increment for each move, so I don't think I can lose on time here. But I'm still gonna have to speed myself up in the future games. Each time my opponent uses shot in the dark, I have to spend like an eternity thinking about the possibilities. Bishop knight rook knight rook knight.
Victory!
Your opponent invited you for a rematch. Of course I'm not going to give him a chance to take revenge. The game is relatively new, so maybe people aren't that used to these spells. It's gonna get more difficult as time passes by. Anichess, 100% win rate.